Today, princess chambers, old but new cars, labyrinths, the gold chain, mansions and much more. Cześć, cześć, I'm Marcin, let's discover Poland in the Polish way. You have probably read the title and are wondering, what the heck is
Wrocław?
Well, to be accurate, it's Wrocław. Wrocław is the capital of Dolny Śląsk. And if you have visited other Polish cities like Gdańsk, Warszawa or Kraków, I highly recommend adding Wrocław to your list. Here is why in a nutshell. Dolny Śląsk is a region with a fascinating history, having been ruled by the Kingdom of Poland, Bohemia, the Habsburg monarchy, Prussia, Germany, and become part of Poland again after 1945. These diverse influences are reflected in its architecture and vibe. The places I will mention today are unique and you won't find anything quite like them elsewhere in Poland. Honestly, if you have a week in Poland, you could easily spend the whole time in Dolny Śląsk. I promise you, 7 days won't be enough to explore Wrocław and everything the region has to offer. Zamek Książ. We are starting with something big, but I promise we won't slow down in the video. Zamek Książ is something for everyone. Love castles? You will be thrilled. Fascinated by princess chambers? Here you go. WW2 history buff? You can't skip this one. The first written mention of Książ Castle dates back to 1288. It was built by Bolko I and had changed owners and purposes over the centuries. Its transformation began when the Hochberg family took over. The castle was modernized and rebuilt. Its current appearance is due to Hans Heinrich IX and Princess Daisy. Additionally, you will find a hotel here with affordable prices considering the location. Unfortunately, you won't be staying in the castle itself, but in a separate building on the castle grounds. If you are dreaming of actually staying inside the castle, make sure to watch the video until the end. And let me tell you, this place is jaw-droppingly stunning. Visiting Książ, you will learn its history mainly through the Hochberg family's perspective. Everyone can explore it at their own pace, with an audio guide available to immerse you in its whole story. Well, not exactly the whole story. The castle's underground tunnels hold secrets you won't discover during the main tour. To explore this, you will need to book a separate ticket for a specific time slot. Once underground, you will dive into the castle's WW2 history. Are you curious to know what happened here? Please, you don't really think I will spoil everything on a YouTube video, did you? If you heard of the Gold Train or Project Rize, you have to visit this place. If you haven't, let's just say there are more mysteries here than you can imagine. And the underground adventures don't stop there. Check out the Ossówka Underground City for even more secrets. Kościół Pokoju w Świdnicy. You cannot skip this place. On my last trip to Dolny Śląsk, I added this spot to my Visit If There Is Time list. For context, I've seen some of the most impressive churches in Kraków and other Polish cities, and even across Europe. I've been to Poland's largest basilica before, and just last year I visited Rome and the Vatican. So what could be surprising about a small church in a little town? Well, UNESCO deemed it worthy of being listed as a World Heritage Site. While it's not enormous, the Peace Church is the largest wooden Baroque church in Europe. And it's breathtaking. The details, the colors, the unique atmosphere. Photos and videos just don't do it justice. And it's entirely wooden. You can't skip this place on your trip to Poland. There is a similar church in a town Jawor. That's also worth visiting. Time for some nature. In Dolny Śląsk, you will find several landscape parks that are, of course, worth visiting. There are also these kinds of towers built here, which are definitely worth checking out as well. But today I would like to say a few more words about Park Narodowy Gór Stołowych. If reconnecting with the nature isn't enough for you and you are craving something truly unique, you will love Błędne Skały. This natural maze is an incredible and unforgettable experience, perfect for adventurers of all kinds. Walking through a naturally formed maze is truly an amazing and unique experience, something special for everyone. You don't need to be super fit to explore it, but there is still some walking and aerobics here. Forts. Twierdza Srebrna Góra and Twierdza Kłodzko. Both of these 18th century Prussian forts are impressive. Don't make the mistake of thinking, I've seen one so I can skip the other. Wrong. Visiting both completes the experience rather than repeating it. You will learn about the life of a Prussian soldier, how they slept, lived and worked, why everyone cried because of this donkey. They were not tears of happiness. And why you would never want to find yourself here in the 19th century, whether as an attacker or a defender. From the air, these forts look spectacular, but exploring them on foot is a one-of-a-kind experience. And if you think it's not for you, just know that even my wife, who wasn't initially excited, became a fan after Srebrna Góra and didn't mind visiting Kłodzko next. She also doesn't mind visiting again Muzeum Motoryzacji w Oławie. Meet Tomasz. Tomasz is let's say, obsessed with new cars. But while most people buy new cars from a dealership, Tomasz buys old new cars. His collection includes gems like a Fiat 126p that spent its life in a first floor living room, a Polish Polones bought in France at Leclerc store. If you are not familiar with Polones, Jeremy summed it up pretty accurately.
Is bad, make no mistake. Everything about it is horrible.
And just to be clear, Poles have a lot of sentimental attachment to it, but it's hard to argue with the facts.
Wziąłem sobie Karo Plus, błędy młodości, jebać ten wóz. Szkoda zgniatarki na to, bo to auto z FSO wyjeżdżało jako gruz.
In the museum you can also find... Well, there is so much that it's hard to list all the most interesting items. The private museum that Tomasz owns has over 400 perfectly maintained cars. It largely focuses on Polish automobiles, but you will find some other interesting rare objects here, including a massive collection of Polish vehicles, bicycles, and over 100 motorcycles. Some museums don't have as many exhibits as this one has motorcycles. What's more, the PRL section is truly impressive. The number of everyday items preserved in excellent condition gives you a deeper insight into what life was like in Poland behind the Iron Curtain. To complete the vibe, there is even a retro-style PRL era buffet serving traditional food from that time, like blok czekoladowy and oranżada, just like in Polish childhood. Not far from this museum, you will find Muzeum Motoryzacji w Topaczu. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite measure up to the one in Oława in any aspect, but if it's on the way to another destination, it's still worth a visit. There is also a recreated set from Polish TV series, Świat według kiepskich. For some, it's the best series ever. For others, it's highly disliked. Series is often referred to as kind of Polish version of Married with Children. When traveling around Poland, don't hesitate to visit smaller towns. If you are exploring the places I've mentioned here, you can easily spend some extra time in Wałbrzych or Kłodzko. Both have their unique charm, and since they are far less touristy than Wrocław, for example, it will definitely feel like a more authentic experience. In Poland you will also find towns with Zdrój in their names. The word Zdrój can be translated to English as spa, which reflects their original purpose, relaxation or coming back to health. These towns are mostly visited by Poles, and when I was last in Kudowa Zdrój, I didn't hear a single word in another language. It's a truly charming local place worth visiting, as is Polanica Zdrój, for example. In towns like this, you will often find mineral water drinks halls, which I seem to recommend in almost every video. The one in Szczawno Zdrój is particularly impressive. The map with this and other amazing locations I didn't mention in this episode, plus some useful tips, is available on my Patreon. As a bonus, while visiting Wrocław, you might want to check out Kraków, but you absolutely must stop at Zamek Mosna on the way. I won't lie, there is a bit less to tour inside compared to Zamek Książ, but you have to admit it's impressive. But still, I would recommend spending some time relaxing on a bench or blanket here. It's a perfect spot to soak in both the beautiful natural surroundings and the spectacular castle views. The castle also operates as a hotel and conference center, so if you want to spend the night, organize a business meeting or even have your wedding here, it's all possible. They frequently host Harry Potter themed events here, which makes perfect sense given how the castle looks. Planning a trip to Kraków? Check out my video on it next. See you in the next or previous video. Subscribe for more!